Welcome back to More Sip the Tally. I'm your host, Coach Evans, and today we're going to give you our weekly, well, not weekly, our every other day NFL recap. So basically, news and notes, injury status, star performances, and just different things that I feel deemed to chit chat about, when it comes to the entire NFL. Most of you know I have my main channel, which is Sip the Tally, and it's basically Ravens centric. We got a bunch of stuff going on over there. But over here, More Sip the Tally, this is, as OTR Mike used to say, this is for the streets. This channel is dedicated to the other 31 teams, and I'm going to start to put a little bit more effort into covering the other 31 teams as well. So I have 4 topics that I want to talk to you about. I got some notes from it, so if you see me looking to the left, that's me kind of reading off the notes because I don't want to leave any information out that I got. While I go through this, I'll flash, photos or some things on the screen, maybe a play or two to use for B-roll as I talk through it. But let's start with the very first topic I have today, and it's a guy that I'm very fond of, and it's Mike Penix. Now, right before I started recording this, it has been confirmed that he is done for the year, opting to have surgery. But these are the notes I have, for the Mike Penix situation. He went down with a knee injury that immediately raised major concerns. Anytime you see a non-contact, awkward bend on a quarterback who already had injury issues, it's a red flag go up. And Penix battled multiple ACLs already. 2 at Indiana. He was fairly healthy at Washington. And then in this situation here, he had the knee bruise earlier. And this is just an extension of that. He re-aggravated that and had some ACL situations. Well, some ACL, I don't want to say tear, because from what I've read, it's not torn. It's just maybe a little damage from what I read. Reports say this could be a serious injury, and again, potentially season ending, and again, confirmed right before I started recording this, he is done for the year. But what does this say about the Falcons? Now you got to go back to Kurt. How does the offense change? Is it you leaning more on the run game? Bijan and other guys have to step up. But if I'm not mistaken, this coming Sunday, Drake London's out. So now you got to look at Pitts, got to step up. Bijan and the other running back got to step up. Mooney has to step up. Some guys that you may not have known have to raise up for the Falcons to be successful. And if they're not, I don't see this ending good for Raheem Morris. Potentially a good team on paper. Their defense has been playing a lot better, but you got to have wins, especially in that division. Because that's not one of the tougher divisions, and no shade to any team in that division. You got to have wins in that division. So that's the situation with Mike Penix. Be right back with the second topic. All right, back. We're going to talk about the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears are in the first place in the AFC North. And keep in mind the other teams in the AFC North, Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings, Green Bay Packers. Chicago Bears at this point are in first place. The Bears are 7-3 and leading their division that most people assume will belong to either the Packers or the Lions this season, especially after the Packers traded for Michael Parsons. That alone tells you how much progress Chicago has made. Keep in mind, first-year coach as well. The defense is tightened up. The offense, while still inconsistent at times, has found enough rhythm to win close games. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. Can they sustain those close games? But here's the interesting twist. Even though the Bears are in first place, there are still other betting markets out there that don't have them as the favorite to win that division. This next stretch of games can see whether they're pretenders or contenders. They have Green Bay, Detroit, a bunch of their divisional matchups coming up. So we'll see over the next 3 to 4 weeks if they're really contenders and or pretenders. But one thing to note, their point differential is slightly negative. Even though they're 7-3, their point differential is negative. So what that means is they're winning close games, but when they lose, they get blown out. Yeah, I know it's awkward to have a 7-3 record and have a losing point differential, but that's what that means. They're winning the close games, and when they lose. So as of right now, the Chicago Bears are in first place in the NFC North. Do you think they have a chance to finish in first place? Let me know in the comment section down below. All right, coming back, now I get a chance to talk about a guy that I really like. And I couldn't root for him his first couple of years in the NFL because most of you know I'm a Ravens fan. He played for the Steelers, and that is George Pickens. I was watching a Ravens content creator today that was talking about one of our draft picks that we picked while Pickens was still on the board. And every time that certain draft pick's name is mentioned, I immediately go to George Pickens. He was my #1 receiver coming out of the draft that year. And with him being on a different team other than the Steelers, I can actually root for him now. But Pickens is actually going nuclear over there with Dallas Cowboys. He's leading the team in receiving yards, leading them in touchdowns, and honestly, he looks more comfortable in the Cowboys than he ever looked in Pittsburgh. The Cowboys clearly saw something in him when they brought him in, and they wasted no time feeding him the ball. Obviously, because CD had got hurt early in the year, so Pickens was like the guy by himself for a minute, but both of them on the team is really crazy. Pickens is giving Dallas something they haven't seen consistently. A truly big play physical receiver that can stretch the field downfield, and he can bully corners as well because that kid don't mind blocking as well. You add CD Lamb into that mix, and they got a lethal combination. A lethal combination. If I'm Dak, I'm one of the happiest people around if they went and got George Pickens to pair him with CD Lamb. But of course, there's a Cowboys subplot. You already know it. Cowboys gonna have some drama for whatever. Here this last game, Pickens and CD Lamb was benched to start the game for a coach's decision. I personally don't know what that coach's decision was. Maybe some more Cowboy content creators know what that is, and you can find it with them. But it is what it is. They got to be mature and do what they need to do to help the team win. But big picture wise, the question is, will they re-sign George when the season's over? Because if I'm not mistaken, he's a free agent after this, and this could be a one-year rental for the Dallas Cowboys. But him and CeeDee Lamb on the same team, really a problem for the NFC as a whole. I like what those two put together. Not what they put together, the problems they present to other opposing defenses. And the last topic I want to talk about is the 5-5 Kansas City Chiefs. Those are words I never thought I'd be saying here in November. The Chiefs are 5-5 and sit outside of the playoff picture right now. They're number 9, if I'm not mistaken. This is the most human the Chiefs have looked since the dynasty started, in the Pat Mahomes era, in my opinion. They're struggling in areas they're used to not. Close games, they're losing. They're not really blowing teams out. The special teams is a mess. The defense is giving up big returns, and the offense just look out of sync at times. Sometimes, Pat gets them out of situations, but a lot of times Pat, if I'm not mistaken, Pat might, at one point, was the leading rusher on the team because they just didn't have any continuity other than Travis on third down, you go find an open spot and I'm going to throw you the ball. Now, beginning of the season, Rasheed Rice was out, and they got him back, and they're trying to incorporate him in and do some stuff with him. Hollywood Brown really haven't given them much ROI. Worthy is doing what he can, especially since they learned how to use him. Now, I will say this about Worthy. Other than go balls, he don't really play as fast as that 40 time. And that's not necessarily negative because he's still fast. I expect him to blow past people all the time, and I just don't see that. And I don't know what it is, honestly. I just expect him to blow past people as fast as he is. Because Kansas City has such a high standard, 5-5 for them really seems like an anomaly. Like, I think people are calling for jobs over there and whatnot, but, when you get better, and they've been good for a long time, players are going to get paid, which means your roster won't be as good as it was earlier. So you got to figure out creative ways to fix your roster, get good young players in, and hopefully those young players will produce. But with Spags and Chris Jones leading that defense, I have no doubt they'll still be in the mix in the AFC. Right now they're 5-5 and out of the playoff mix, but I have no doubt that they'll be in the playoff mix come soon. And I will say shout out to the Chargers and the Broncos for giving them hell over there in the AFC West, because for a long time they've had a cakewalk. That cakewalk is over. You got to earn your stripes now. And I'll end by saying this. At 5-5, the Chiefs aren't done, but they're officially on notice. Broncos, Chargers have them on notice. And I will say this, me and Nitro talked about this too. They're 4 games out of first place in the AFC West. It's only 7 games left. So them not winning the West will be the first time that happening in a long time unless a miracle happens. So with that being said, I appreciate y'all for coming through. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with me. We hit on George Pickens. We hit on the Chiefs being 5-5. We hit on Mike Penix's injury. And we also hit on the Chicago Bears being in first place in the NFC North. So I appreciate y'all, man. Like the video, subscribe, comment, hit the bell so you can be notified when the rest of this content drops. And this is your NFL Roundup for 11/19/2025. Make sure you subscribe. Peace and love, y'all.